So when I was 16 years old, I found out that my dad gambled away $50,000 of money, which we frankly didn't have. I don't think I understood the magnitude, at that time as a 16-year-old, but my mom asked my dad to leave that day. And for a 16-year-old kid who thought her dad hung the moon, it had a massive impact on me. I took my resentment out on my mom, and I think in that moment, I just never wanted money to cause conflicts in my life. I just never wanted to find myself in that situation again where money could cause such a disruption in a relationship like that. Hi, my name is Mahlum. I am 43 years old. I am the founder and former CEO of Solidcore, and this is how I made my first million. I grew up in Bismarck, North Dakota. I had a pretty normal childhood. Both my parents worked. My dad sold insurance and my mom was a teacher. I played a ton of sports in North Dakota, super safe upbringing. We didn't lock our doors, left our keys in our car. So pretty normal childhood until I was 16 or so. I went to college at a place called St. Cloud State University in Minnesota. I majored in political science and communications. I also graduated in 3 years because I was in such a hurry to be an adult and have a job and make money and get married and have kids. So when I was like 26, 27, completely lost in my life, I didn't really have any kind of fulfillment in my life. And I was running every day at 5:30 in the morning. And there was this homeless shelter that I ran by, again, on like every morning run, and never really thought twice about the people that I saw. And one morning, these guys waved at me and we just started building this relationship. And it was like a light bulb where I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna start a running club for these guys. I knew the power of running. I mean, I felt so alive and I felt so in control of my life when I was running. I had just taken a big job at Comcast. It was going to be my first introduction into the for-profit world, and this idea for Back on My Feet happened at the same time. Once I had the running club going for a few weeks, I just knew this was what I was supposed to do with my life. I called Comcast and I told them, I think I've found my calling and my purpose, and I was so grateful, but I can't take this job. I built that into a national nonprofit and ran it for 6.5 years. So 6 years into Back on My Feet, I started to get this feeling that it was time to do something else. I took this massive risk. My life is so fulfilling. I get to help all these people. Where's this coming from? So, I tried to brush it off, and it just kept coming back up. I was afraid to leave this thing that I started that I got so much attention for, that was successful and working. Once the feelings didn't go away, I sort of was like, okay, I have to start looking for my next thing. So I was in LA, getting ready to launch Back on My Feet in LA, and I walked by this studio. It was like a Pilates-esque studio and was very pink. And I was like, okay, I'll go take this class. I went to take the class and I got my butt kicked. I couldn't believe how hard it was. It didn't make sense to me that it was so hard. And the next day I was sore in all of the places that as a woman I was trying to target. My core, my obliques, my inner thighs, everything was just pulsating. And of course I had to tell everybody how sore I was. I started doing the math on how many people were in class, how many machines, and I started to ask some questions. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do next. I didn't think that many people knew that you could work out this way, and the results I was seeing, the strength I was developing, and I thought I could take everything I had learned at Back on My Feet and put that into this new type of workout and build a really incredible brand. So I moved back to DC, and I felt it would be the perfect place to launch the first Solidcore studio. I had saved $175,000 from bonuses, from salary, from speaking engagements I was doing. It took 95% of that $175,000 to get this first studio open. I had been taking risks my whole life, so it didn't feel so scary when I was going to bet on myself, because I'm not gonna grow if I don't take risks. My views and predictions about Solidcore came true. We were very busy from day one. I got pretty lucky with the timing. So in 2013, there was really no boutique fitness in DC. There was no SoulCycle, there was no Orange Theory, there was no Flywheel, there was no Berries, there was nothing. And so when I showed up with this new type of workout, People were really curious. I was able to get some good press. One thing I have learned about Solidcore, our biggest marketing tool was the fact that everybody had to go tell anybody they knew how sore they were. And they wanted to be the ones to tell their friends that they had to go try this because it gives them good social cred in their circle. So we were really busy from the start and profitable from month one. Oh my goodness, I learned so many lessons in Solidcore, and I can tell you from the beginning, I had no boundaries as a CEO. And if I'm being honest with myself, I think a lot of that came from my insecurities of, not really knowing how to lead quite yet. I was friends with a lot of our employees, and, we had conversations that were outside of work, and it was just like, I don't have a lot of boundaries as a person. Not having those boundaries in the beginning were what made the magic of Solidcore, but I think later I didn't do a good enough job at resetting those boundaries as it was turning into a really big company, and that got confusing for folks. I made my first $1 million in the first year of Solidcore, which is pretty incredible, and I know that's not normal. The money I was putting back into the company, yes, but I was able, because I was 100% owner in the business, to take out enough distributions to have $1 million in my bank account. One of the greatest pieces of advice I have heard about money is that money follows, it doesn't lead. And that really stuck with me, because what I was focused on was not really making money. There's nothing wrong with making money, but what I was focused on was building an incredible company. I mean, I had the time of my life building this business. I loved every second of it, and I put in time, energy, like you wouldn't believe. So when you do that, as an entrepreneur, right, money for me is a reward. It means I'm doing a good job. It means what I'm doing is quality. It means it's a value that people are coming back. So it's just a reward for all of that.